The original Slow and Sear is one of the most useful accessories ever made for the iconic Weber kettle. The Weber Summit Charcoal and Summit Kamado took the efficiencies of the original kettle to new heights. It's a joy to cook with, and it's extremely versatile. I probably cook more on my Weber Summit Kamado than on any of my other grills and smokers. If you're like me, you want to equip your favorite grills with accessories, so naturally I wanted to use my Weber Summit Kamado with the Slow and Sear. The problem? The original Slow and Sear does not fit in the Summit Kamado. The solution? S&S Grills has restocked the Slow and Sear Low Profile Edition, which is the version that we are looking at right now inside of my Summit Kamado. The Low Profile Edition delivers the same performance as the original, but with its shorter height, it's designed to accommodate the Weber Summit Charcoal and Summit Kamado. The Slow and Sear makes it even easier to achieve two-zone cooking and high-heat searing in the Summit Kamado grill. Alright guys, we're going to get the fire started. So in the Slow and Sear, you can use either briquettes or lump charcoal. My preference is lump charcoal. So I banked some lump charcoal over into the corner of the Slow and Sear, and at the bottom of it I had a wax cube, so I went ahead and lit up that wax cube. I'm gonna let this burn probably for about 15 minutes, and at that point I'll fill up the rest of this with the unlit coals, and then I'll also add some water to the water reservoir and get this thing going. So it's pretty chilly today, about 45 degrees, and the wind has been blowing pretty consistently all morning. So it'll be a good test to see how the Slow and Sear holds up in these conditions inside of the Weber Summit Kamado, but I'm pretty confident that I'm not gonna have any trouble at all holding temps. So again, you can also set this up with briquettes. Just put about 12 of them into the corner and light your fire that way. But again, I prefer to use lump charcoal, just a personal preference. So we've let this go for about 15 minutes. I added some unlit charcoal as well as some wood chunks. We're using cherry today. The flame that we see over in the corner there is from one of the wood chunks that I put right over the hot coals. So now I'm gonna go ahead and fill up the water reservoir. And what I have here is about 1 quart of hot water. So pretty important that you use hot or really warm water for this stage instead of cold. So now we've got the grill grate in place. So what I'm trying to do today is I want to smoke my pork belly at 250 degrees. So I'm going to let the cooker come up to temperature, and then we'll get the pork bellies on to get the process started. So while the smoker was coming up to temperature, I got my pork bellies seasoned. So here's how everything looks inside of the Summit Kamado. So it's a good fit for 1 rack of pork bellies that I've got here. And we've got our charcoal and the wood chunk, everything banked over to the left side. So this is a 2-zone cooking setup. So we're gonna get this closed up and let these pork bellies smoke for about 2 hours. All right guys, the pork bellies have been on the smoker for 2 hours. So let's take a look. There you see they've gotten a lot of smoke, and that barbecue rub has really soaked into these bellies, and you can see that they've taken on some nice color. Also, let's try and get a look and see how the Slow and Sear is doing. You know, I just realized I should have put a a drip pan underneath the bacon, and now I've gotten it all over my deflector shield, so I'm gonna have to work on cleaning that up. But anyway, what I wanted to show here was a look at how the coals are burning in the slow and sear, and you can see that there is still plenty of coals left after 2 hours. So it is burning through slowly. The slow and sear is doing its job. And just to give you an example, when I said that these pork bellies took on a lot of smoke inside of the Summit Kamado, I also was running this batch in my Mac Grill pellet smoker, and you can see the difference. You know, these have a much lighter tinge of smoke than the ones that came out of the Summit Kamado, just to give you an example of the light smoke profile you're going to typically get when you're cooking with a pellet grill versus when you're cooking with charcoal or with wood splits. So for the next phase, we're gonna get these pork bellies nice and tender. So what I've done here is I've taken 1.5 sticks of butter and sliced it up, just putting it on top of the pork bellies inside of an aluminum pan. Gonna get it back on the smoker and let it go for another 1.5 to 2 hours. So I let these pork bellies stay on the smoker. It's actually been longer than 2 hours. I got a little bit distracted with some other things. So overall, these coals have been going probably close to 5 hours already. And unfortunately, we've lost the daylight. So actually, let me move the pork bellies here because I'm about to take them inside and add some more flavor to them for the final step. And I want to try and give you guys a better look at the coals. So hopefully that'll give you an idea of what we've got left. It's definitely burned down some, and for the final step, I do want to keep my pork bellies out here. I think I will add some more charcoal while I've got everything open to get me through the rest of the cook. But this is basically what it's looking like after about 5 hours. All right, guys, so here's a look at the finished product. So for that last step, I added the pork belly glaze and then put everything back onto the smoker for about 15 minutes. The Weber Summit Kamado is already a fantastic grill and smoker. It's extremely versatile. It's good at cooking low and slow, hot and fast. It can pretty much handle anything that you throw at it. If you're a newbie to barbecue, it's pretty easy to learn the concepts to control your temperatures. And if you've had any experience with a kettle, I mean, it's a piece of cake. It's like riding a bike, and it can't get any easier. Likewise, the Slow and Sear low profile add-on is a wonderful accessory. It performed exactly as I expected it to, and again, it just makes it even easier to have 2-zone cooking. Also makes it easier to set up a portion of your Weber Summit Kamado as a hot and fast sear section. Now, because the Summit Kamado is already a fantastic grill, I don't consider this accessory to be one that I would put in the must-have category. So, you know, if you've had experience with the Weber kettle and the Slow and Sear, you know, if you see that low profile version out there and you want to have that same type of experience, I say go for it. This is Kenyatta Robinson. Thank you for joining me on my Backyard SmokeMaster Barbecue channel. If you like some of the things that you've seen here, please tell a friend, share the video. Take care. I'll see you in the next one.